ओहे वैष्णवा ठाकुरा दयार सागरा एदासे करुणा करी ओ हे वैष्णव ठाकुरा दयार सागरा एदासे करुणा करी दिया पद छाया शोधो हे आमाया तुम्हार चरण धोरी छया बेगा दोमी छया दोषा शोधी छया गुना देहो दासे छाया सत्संगा देहो हे आमारे होशेची संगेर आशे एकाकी आमार नाही पाया बल हरि नाम संकीर्तने तुम्हें कृपा कोरी श्रद्धा बिंदु दिया देहो कृष्ण नाम धने दिते पारो तुम्हारा शक्ति आछे आमी तो कंगाल कृष्णा कृष्णा बोले धाई तब पाछे पाछे कृष्णा आमी तो कंगाल कृष्णा कृष्णा बोली धाई तब पाछे पाछे वैष्णव ठाकुरा दयार सागरा एदासे करुणा करी जय वैष्णव ठाकुर वैष्णव ठाकुर वैष्णव ठाकुर जय वैष्णव ठाकुर जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद प्रभुपाद उज्ज्वल वरना गौरवर दे विलसित निरवधि भाव विदेहम् उज्ज्वलवर्णा गौरवरदेहम् विलसित निरवधि भाव विदेहम् त्रिभुवन पावन कृपायालेशं सम्प्रणमामि च श्रीशचितनयम् कदन्तरभावविकारं दुर्जनकर जननाद विशालम् भावभयभञ्जन कारण करुणं सम्प्रणमामि च श्रीशचितनया करुणाम्बरधर चारु कपोलम् इन्दुविनिन्दित नखचय रुचिरम् जलपित निज गुण नाम विनोदं सम्प्रणमामि च श्रीशचितनया विगलित नयन कमल जलधारम् भूषण नवरस भाव विकारम् गतियति मंथर नित्यविलासं सम्प्रणमामि च श्रीशचितनयम् चञ्चल चारु चरण गति रुचिरं मंजिर रंजित पद युग मधुरम् चंद्र विनिन्दित शीतल वदनं सम्प्रणमामि च श्रीशचितनया कटिडोरकमण्डलुदण्डं दिव्यकलेवरमुण्डितमुण्डम् दुर्जनकल्मषखण्डानदण्डां सम्प्रणमामि च श्रीशचितनया भूषणभूरजलकवलितं कम्पितबिम्बाधर वररुचिरम् मलयजविरचित उज्ज्वलतिलकं सम्प्रणमामि Chitanaya Nindita Aruna Kamala Dalanayanam Ajanulambita Shri Bhuja Yugalam Devarakaishura Narata Kavesham Tam Pranamami Cha Shri Chachitanaya Ujjvala Varana Nurvardena Vilasita Niravadi Bhava Videha Jaya Sachinandana Jaya Sachinandana Jaya Gaura Hari 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 Vibhavari Shesha Aloka Pravesha Netrachari Utto Jiva Nidravari Shesha Aloka Pravesha Nidrachari Utto Jiva Bolo Hari Hari Mukunda Murari Rama Krishna Hayagriva Nashinga Vamana Shri Madhusudana Rajendra Nandana We don't have the beat. How do we sing? Do you know the beat, Prabhu? Like Nidrachari Utto Jiva Bolo Hari Hari Mukunda Murari Rama Krishna Hayagriva Nashinga Vamana Shri Madhusudana Rajendra Nandana Putana Ghatana Kaitava Shatana Jaya Dasharathi Rama Yashoda Dulala Govinda Gopala Vrindavana Purandara Gopi Priya Jana Radhika Ramana Bhuvana Sundara Ravanantakara Makhana Taskara Gopi Jana Vastrahari Rajera Rakhala Gopa Vrindapala Chittahari Bamshidhari Yogendra Bandana Shri Nandanandana Rajatana Bhayahari Namina Nirada Rupa Manohara Mohana Bamshi Bihari Yashoda Nandana Kamshani Shodana Nikunjara Savilasi Kadamba Kanana Rasa Parayana Vrindadipena Nivasi Ananda Vardhana Premaniketana Kulashara Jojakama Gopangana Gana Chitta Vinodana Sama जीवन केलिपरायण मानस चंद्र चकोरा नाम सुधारस गाओ कृष्ण जश राखो वचन मन मोरा विभावरी शेषा Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hari Bol. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hari Bol. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hari Bol. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hari Bol. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hari Bol. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hari Bol. Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. Prabhu, can we sing Yashomati Nandan? Please, you want to? Yes.
Yashomati Nandana Rajavara Nagara Gokula Ranjana Ghana Gopi Parana Ghana Madana Manohar Kaliyadamana Vidhana Gopi Parana Ghana Madana Manohar Kaliyadamana Vidhana Amal Harina Amiya Vilasa Harinam Amiya Vilasa Vipina Purandara Navina Nagaravara Vipina Purandara Navina Nagaravara Vamsi Vadana Suvasa Yashoma Vraja Jana Palana Asrkula Nashana Nanda Godana Rakhavala Jana Palana Asrkula Nashana Nanda Godana Rakhavala Govinda Madhava Navanita Taskara Sundarananda Gopala Govinda Madhava Navanita Taskara Sundarananda Gopala Yamuna Tatachara Gopi Vasanahara Rasarasika Kripamoya Radha Vallabha Vrindavana Natavara Bhakti Vinodashraya Sri Radha Vallabha Vrindavana Natavara Bhakti Vinodashraya Yashomati Nandana Brajavara Nagara Gokula Ranjana Kana Yashomati Nandana Brajavara Nagara Gokula Ranjana Kana Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Ram Hare Hare
We'll have the Bhagavatam class by His Grace Acyuta Chaitanya Prabhu. So we'll set put the asanas and chairs. Hare Krishna.
It's audible? Yeah, audible. Thank you very much for coming for Bhagavatam class again. Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha Anadiradir Govinda Sarvakarana Karanam Chintamani Prakara Sadmashukalpa Vriksha Lakshavriteshu Surabhira Bhipalayantam Lakshmi Sahasra Shata Sambrahma Sevyamanam Govindamadi Purusham Tam Bhajami Venum Kwanantam Aravinda Dalayataksham Barhavatam Shamasitam Buddha Sundarangam Kandarpakoti Kamaniya Vishesha Shobham Govindamadi Purusham Tamham Bhajami Alola Chandra Kalasadvan Malya Vamshi Ratnan Gadam Pranaya Keli Kala Vilasam Shyamam Tribhanga Lalitam Niyata Prakasham Govindamadi Purusham Tamham Bhajami Angani Yasya Sakalendriya Vritti Manti Pashyanti Panti Kalayanti Chiram Jaganti Ananda Chinmaya Sad Ujjvala Vigrahasya Govindamadi Purusham Tamham Bhajami Advaitam Achyutam Anadim Ananta Rupam Adyam Prana Purusham Navayovanam Cha Vedeshu Durlabam Adurlabam Atma Bhaktau Govindamadi Purusham Tamham Bhajami Pantastu Koti Shatavatsara Sampragamyo Vayor Athapi Manoso Munipungavanam Sopyasti Yat Prapadasimnya Vichintya Tatve Govindamadi Purusham Tamham Bhajami Ekopya Saura Chaitum Jagad Anda Kotim Yachaktirasti Jagad Anda Chayadar Antaha Andantarastha Paramanu Chayantarastham Govindam Adi Purusham Tamham Bhajami Yad Bhava Bhavita Diyo Manujastathaiva Samprapya Rupa Mahimasanayana Bhushaha Suktaryam Eva Nigama Prititaistu Vanti Govindamadi Purusham Tamham Bhajami Ananda Chinmaya Rasa Pritibhavitabhis Tabhirya Eva Nijarupataya Kalabhi Golok Mabhuto Govindamadi Purusham Tamham Bhajami Premanjana Yam Shama Sundaram Achintya Guna Swarupam Govindamadi Purusham Tamham Bhajami Ramadi Murti Shukalani Yamena Tishthan Nanavataram Akarodbhuvaneshu Kintu Krishna Swayam Samabhavat Parama Pumanyo Govindamadi Purusham Tamham Bhajami Jagad Andakoti Kotishvashesha Vasudhadi Vibhuti Bhinnam Tad Brahma Nishkalam Anantam Ashesha Bhutam Govindamadi Purusham Tamham Bhajami Maya hi yasya Jagad Anda Shatani Sute Traigunya Tad Vishaya Veda Vitaya Mana सत्त्वावलम्बि परसत्त्वं विशुद्धसत्त्वं गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि आनन्दचिन्मयरसात्मतया मनःसु यः प्राणिनां प्रतिफलं स्मरतामुपेत्य लीलायितेन भुवनानि जयत्यजस्रम् दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि गोलोकनाम्नि निजधाम्नि तले च तस्य देवी महेशहरिधाम शुतेषु तेषु ते प्रभावनिचया वितचयेन गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि सृष्टिस्थितिप्रलयसाधनशक्तिरेका छायेव यस्य भुवनानि बिभर्ति दुर्गा इच्छानुरूपमपि यस्य च चेष्टते सा दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि क्षीरं यथा दधिविकारविशेषयोगात् संजायते नहि तथा पृथक् अस्ति हेतो यः शम्भुतम् अपि तथा समुपैति कार्यात् गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि दीपार्चिरेव हि दशान्तरमभ्युपेत्य दीपायते वृत्तहेतुसमानधर्मा यस्तादृगेव हि च विष्णुतया विभाति गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि यः कारणार्णवजले भजति स्म योगा निद्रामनन्तजगदण्डसरोमकूपः आधारशक्तिमवलम्ब्य परां स्वमूर्तिं गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि यस्येकनिःश्वसितकालमथावलम्ब्य जीवन्ति लोमविलजा जगदण्डनाथा विष्णुर्महान् स यस्य कलाविशेषो गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि भास्वा यथाश्मशकलेषु निजेषु तेजः स्वीयं कियत् प्रकटयत्तवितद्वदत्र ब्रह्मा एष जगदण्डविधानकर्ता गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि यत्पादपल्लवयुगं विनिधाय कुम्भ द्वन्द्वे प्रणामसमये स गणाधिराजा विघ्नान् विहन्तुमलमस्य जगत्त्रयस्य गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि अग्निर्मही गगनमम्बुमरुद्दिशश्च कालस्तथास्तीति जगत्त्रयाणि यस्माद्भवन्ति विभवन्ति विशन्ति यं च गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि यच्चक्षुरेश सविता सकलग्रहाणां राजा समस्तसुरमूर्तिरशेषतेजः यस्यज्ञया भ्रमति संवृतकालचक्रो विन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि धर्मोत्पापनिचया श्रुतयस्तपंसि ब्रह्मादिकीटपतगावदयश्च जीवाः यद्दत्तमात्र विभव प्रकटप्रभाव गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि यस्तोपमेत् अथर्वेन्द्रम् अहो स्वकर्मा बन्धानुरूपम् नोति कर्माणि निर्दहति किन्तु च भक्तिभाजां गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि क्रोधकामसहजप्रणयादिभीति वात्सल्यमोहगुरुगौरवसेव्यभावे सञ्चिन्त्य तस्य सदृशीं तनुमापुरेते गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि विन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि। श्रिया कान्ता कान्ता परमपुरुषा कल्पतरवो द्रुमा भूमिश्चिन्तामणिगणमयी तोयममृतम् तथा गानं नाट्यं गमनम् अपि वंशी प्रियसखी चिदानन्दं ज्योति परमपि तदास्वाद्यमपि च स यत्र क्षीराब्धि श्रवति सुरभिभ्यश्च सुमहान् निमेषार्धाख्यो वा व्रजति नहि यत्रापि समय भजे श्वेताद्वीप्तं तमहम् इह गोलोकमिति यं विदन्तस्ते सन्तक्षिति विरलचारकटिपये अथोवाच महाविष्णुर्भगवन्तं प्रजापतिं ब्रह्मन्महत्त्वविज्ञाने प्रजासर्गे च चेन्मति पञ्चश्लोकीम् इमां विद्यां वत्सदत्तां निबोध मे प्रबुद्धे ज्ञानभक्तिभ्याम् आत्मन्यानन्दचिन्मयी उदित्युन्नतमा भक्तिर्भगवत्प्रेमलक्षणा प्रमाणस्तत्सदाचारे तदभ्यासैर्निरन्तरं बोधयन् आत्मनात्मानं भक्तिम् अप्युत्तमं लभेत् यस्या श्रेयस्करं नास्ति यया निवृत्तमाप्नुयात् या साधयति मामेव भक्तिं तम् एव साधयेत् धर्मम् अन्यन् परित्यज्य मामेकं भज विश्वसन् यादृशी श्रद्धा सिद्धिर्भवति तादृशी कुर्वन् निरन्तरं कर्म लोकोऽयम् अनुवर्तते तेनैव कर्मणा ध्यायान् मां परां भक्तिमिच्छति अहम् इ विश्वस्य चराचरस्य बीजं प्रधानां प्रकृतिपुमांश मया हितं तेज इदं बिभर्षि विदे विदेहि त्वमथो जगन्ति ईश्वर परम कृष्ण सच्चिदानंद विग्रह नादिरादिर्गोविन्द सर्वकारणकारणम् इति श्री ब्रह्म संहिता संपूर्णं हरि ओम. Every Saturday we do this Brahma Samhita. So now we will do this is Chat Goswami Ashtakam. I like this bhajan a lot. So thought we will sing this and then we'll do Jai Radha Madhav and then we'll start with the class. You can do Krishna. We can sing together. Krishna Kirtan Gana Nartana Paro Premamritambo Dhira Dhira Jana Priya Priya Karo Nirmatsara Pujita Shri Chaitanya Krita Bharao Bhuvi Bhuvo जय जय राधा माधव जय कुंज विहारी जय राधा माधव जय जय राधा माधव जय कुंज विहारी जय गोपीजन वल्लभ जय गिरिवरधारी जय गिरिवरधारी जय गोपीजन वल्लभ जयो गिरिवरधारी जयो गिरिवरधारी जय यशोदानन्दन जय व्रजजनरञ्जन जय व्रजजनरञ्जन जय जय यशोदानन्दन जय व्रजजनरञ्जन जय व्रजजनरञ्जन जय यमुनतीरवनचारी जय कुंज विहारी जय जय यमुनतीरवनचारी जय कुंज विहारी जय राधा माधव जय कुंज विहारी जय राधा माधव जय कुंज विहारी हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet Shenvatam Swakata Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana Hridyantastha Bhadrani Vidunoti Susatam Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Hare Krishna. So we can go to Canto 1st, chapter 18, verse number 4. We'll be reading today from Parikshit Maharaja's pastime. One 18:4, Srimad Bhagavatam. 1:18:4, first canto, 18th chapter, verse number 4. Seeing Kautukan Prabhu having two books of shloka, I was remembering Arjuna having his ambidextrous. He can read, use both the hands. I was thinking Prabhu maybe while finding shloka, he will use both the books at the same time. Yeah. So the first 3 verses of this chapter, the entire summarization of Parikshit Maharaj's story is done. And the 4th verse talks about that, yes, Parikshit Maharaj is a glorious Vaishnava, but there was some thing that happened. So why is he still glorified? So this verse talks about that. Because, it starts like that, because. Okay, we'll start. Nottama shloka vartanam jushatam tat kathamritam syat sambhramonta kalepi Smaratam tat padambujam Nuttama shloka vartanam Jushatam tat kathamritam Syat sambramo antakalepi Smaratam tat padambujam Nuttama shloka vartanam Jushatam tat kathamritam Syat sambhramontakaalepi Smaratam tat padambujam. Prabhus, anyone wants to recite? Nuttama shloka vartanam Jushatam tat kathamritam Syat sambhramontakaalepi Smaratam tat padambujam. One more, anyone else? Nuttama shloka vartanam Jushatam tat kathamritam Sat sambhramantakalepi. Okay. Synonyms: na, never. Uttama shloka, the personality of Godhead, of whom the Vedic hymns sing. Vartanam, of those who live on them. Jushatam, of those who are engaged in. Tat, his. Katha Amritam, transcendental topics about him. Syat, it so happens. Sambrama means conception. Anta, at the end. Kale, in time. Api, also. Smaratam, remembering. Tat, his. Padambujam, lotus feet. Yeah. Translation. This was so because those who have dedicated their lives. So, why is he glorified? Even after that pinprick. This was so because those who have dedicated their lives to transcendental topics of personality of Godhead, of whom the Vedic hymns sing, and who are constantly engaged in remembering the lotus feet of the Lord, do not run the risk of having misconceptions even at the last moment of their lives. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Purport. The highest perfection of life is attained by remembering the transcendental nature of the Lord at the last moments of one's life. This perfection of life is made possible by one who has learned the actual transcendental nature of the Lord. From the Vedic hymns sung by a liberated soul like Shukadeva Goswami, or someone in that line of disciplic succession. There is no gain in hearing the Vedic hymns from some mental speculator. When the same is heard from an actual self-realized soul and is properly understood by service and submission, everything becomes transparently clear. Thus, a submissive disciple is able to live transcendentally and continue to the end of the life. By scientific adaptation, one is able to remember the Lord even at the end of life. When the power of remembrance is slackened due to derangement of bodily remembrances, for a common man it is very difficult to remember things as they are at the time of death. But by the grace of the Lord and His bona fide devotees, the spiritual masters, one can get this opportunity without difficulty. And it was done in the case of Maharaj Parikshit. So here it's mentioned, right? Prabhu, can we go down? 1 minute. Down. One line. Last line. Completely. Purport. In that there is a nice point actually. It is very little up. It is, for a common man it is very difficult to remember things as they are at the time of death. But by the grace of the Lord and His bona fide devotees, spiritual masters, one can get this opportunity without difficulty. And when I was reading this, I was remembering that what we have done throughout our life, sort of we'll remember at the end of the life. Anta kale chamameva. There was one old man. He was a business tycoon. Entire life he just did business. So at the end of the life, when he was about to leave, he saw all his family members, his sons and everyone, sons, his wife. So he was seeing everyone and suddenly asked, because he was continuously his life, he was only on the shop, he was in business. At the end of the life, when he was about to leave, he asked, Dukaan pe kaun hai? Right? Why? Because who is at the shop? If you all are here, so who is at the shop? That time also he was thinking that profit should not be lost. Right? So whatever we have done throughout our life, that's what we will remember at the time of death. That's what is saying. And Parikshit Maharaj perfected that. Right? Perfected that. Okay, we'll do quickly Mangalacharan prayers and then we will start. Om Ajnana Timirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Mano Bhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tvam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Pada Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamsha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Deen Bandho Jagatpate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Chana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyasya Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Nitai na Jai Shri Krishna. Okay, we'll sing this. Nitai name neche namer hate Shraddha mulye nam dite chere. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhara, Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Maybe we can sing now. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Radhanath Swamiti Namine. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamiti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Gaurvani Pracharine Nirvisheshunyavadi Parshade Deshatarine. Hare Krishna. So today we are going to discuss about Parikshit Maharaj. Yesterday around 10 a.m. My wife Manjari Gopika, she said that today we have to fast till 12 o'clock. So you better don't eat now. She just realized that time. I said okay. And she left for the temple. She had some service. Tomorrow you will know what was the service. It's a Sunday feast. So then I said, okay, 2 hours are there now. I have to get engaged. Something I have to do. So I was reading something and then doing my daily course. And it was 11:30. So time was ticking now, 11:30. It happens sometimes, right? Usually you're not hungry so much. It's okay. But when you know that this time you're supposed to eat, like 7 o'clock, let's say. So from 6:30 in the temple you are, kirtan is going on. 7 o'clock you're supposed to now break. So from 6:30 you will start thinking, oh, kitna time hai, so much, how much? I don't know about you, but at least. So, and if you see during Janmashtami also, right? 12 o'clock, till 12 o'clock you can sustain. But at 11:30, Aarti will start and 12 o'clock. The way devotees take prasadam, it feels like, there is, ye prasadam na milega dobara, right? You will not get this prasadam again. I'm guilty for that as well. I'm also part of it. So at 11:30, I felt that, it's another 30 minutes now. So I was trying to concentrate. I was trying to read something. Time was ticking. 11:45, 11:50. I was thinking, why is it so slow today? I was thinking like, okay, when will I eat? Then 11:55. And I said, okay, 5 minutes are remaining. What I can do is, I can go to the kitchen, start making my plate. And I'll do slowly, because the kitchen is nearby. It's not like it's a big temple or something. I'll go slowly, 5 minutes I'll set up the plate and all. By the time 12 o'clock, I'll start. So, I went to the, So I went to the kitchen, took my plate, took a spoon, started filling up slowly. There is a lot of time, 5 minutes are there. Started filling up the plate. I sat, looked at the time. It was 11:58. Still 2 minutes remaining. I was getting frustrated. I don't know, somehow. And suddenly I recollected the story that on Nityananda Trayodasi, Radha Vallabh Prabhu was mentioning. He mentioned the story of monkey. You remember? Ekadashi. A monkey wanted to keep Ekadashi. And he was completely concentrated on next day, I have to break the fast. Maybe I can start preparing now only. And then I was thinking, my God, my situation is like a monkey only. Right? So many times when we hear stories, we think that, oh, my situation is not like that. I'm good. I'm good. But in subtle ways, we see that we do that way sometimes. At least I can say for myself. And then I felt, let's go back to the room and just read something and come back. So we have this, right? Sometimes we read some stories. We might feel that time that, no, I'm not there. This is not my situation. But subtle level, we might do that. I thinking of monkey, there is a verse that's by Chanakya Niti. It says, Markatasya surapanam madhye vrishchika damshanam tan muddhe bhuta sancharo yadva tadva bhavishyati. It says, imagine a monkey, right? Markatasya surapanam. Imagine a monkey who has drunk nicely. Suraparnam. Madhya Vrishchika Damshanam. Now that same monkey who has drunk nicely has been now bitten by a scorpion. And then it says, Tanmudde Bhuta Sancharo. Now in that monkey who has been drunk and scorpion also bitten, ghost also entered in that monkey. Imagine what will be the situation of that monkey, right? And then it says the mind, our mind is like that monkey. Right? We might think, oh, I'm good, I'm doing this. But at subtle levels, we never know what are we really doing. So these stories from Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, Bhagavad Gita, it just reminds us that how at subtle level we might be behaving like that. Seeing the story of Shringi, we might think that, no, I'm not like that. But sometimes we have that Shringi mentality in our heart as well. We'll see that how, right? Madhvacharya explains that Srimad Bhagavatam can be understood at various levels. I mean, Srimad Bhagavatam is so vast, right? So much depth is there. He says one way to understand Srimad Bhagavatam is at literal level, which is exactly spoken by Vyasadeva as it is. And then he says the other level, one is literal level, the other level to understand Srimad Bhagavatam is didactical. Didactical means taking out lessons from the stories of Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, Bhagavad Gita. What lessons we can take out of it, right? That is obviously with the help of the commentaries of Acharyas. So first is literal, second is didactical, and third, Madhvacharya says, the third level one can understand Srimad Bhagavatam is metaphorical. Metaphorical means what is the analogy that we can come up with from this story of Srimad Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita. Like for example, Bhagavad Gita, right? I mean, imagine Arjuna is considered as, pure devotee, right? He had a chance to take the entire Narayani Sena. Imagine, Narayani Sena. Come on. And he chose a personality. He's not going to fight. Right? He chose Krishna. Any investment banker, with his material senses will say, no, you have to take Narayani Sena. But Arjuna had so much faith in Krishna. Right? For 13 years he was preparing for that battlefield, for that war. But that very time, he flipped. Right? The doubt arose in his heart. Right? And we can also have the same analogy. Right? We read Srimad Bhagavatam, we do so many things. Right? But sometimes the doubt comes. Is Krishna there? Is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu there? Right? And then what we also do is we take the shelter of Bhagavad Gita. What Arjuna did, right? He also took the shelter of Bhagavad Gita. Sometimes we read some sections, maybe cosmology, and we might think, how is it possible? Right? One devotee mentioned that even how you perceive Srimad Bhagavatam, it can be determined whether you are a Kanishta or Madhyamadikari. One who reads Srimad Bhagavatam through his emotions, is a Kanishta Adhikari. But one who reads his emotions through Srimad Bhagavatam is Madhyamadikari. You can little bit reflect on that. One who reads Srimad Bhagavatam through his emotions. So he is reading Srimad Bhagavatam, but he has his own perceptions. That is Kanishta Adhikari. That's where we start doubting the scripture. Right? It is possible that we might not understand certain things. It's okay. Krishna will reveal if we really pray hard to Krishna. Right? And Madhyamadikari is the one who sees his emotions, who sees his life through the lens of Srimad Bhagavatam. Right? Jnana Chakshu. So we see that how Srimad Bhagavatam is it's amazing. Right? It's just so amazing. We're very fortunate that we got a chance Saturday mornings to read something from Srimad Bhagavatam, to discuss, to reflect on. Yeah, just so fortunate. And today specifically, we will read from the pastime of Parikshit Maharaja. Right? Parikshit Maharaja is considered as the Shravanacharya, one who perfected his life just to hearing the pastimes of, hearing the entire Srimad Bhagavatam from the lips of Shukadeva Goswami. And it is just amazing. I was just reflecting that how, for different folks, certain scriptures are spoken for different reasons. Like you see, Krishna spoke Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna. Why? So that he can remain in the battlefield. He can fight. Right? And same Krishna spoke Uddhav Gita to Uddhava so that he can renounce. It was the same text. If you read both Uddhav Gita, a lot of verses are exactly, you will feel, oh, it's the same thing. Right? It's going in parallel. But to Krishna he spoke so that he can remain in the battlefield, he can fight. And to Uddhava he spoke so that he can renounce. Right? Different shloks for different folks. But here the same shloks. But the outcome that is needed is different. It's amazing, these scriptures. I mean, it can bring so many things. Just reading this scripture. So we come to Parikshit Maharaj's pastime. Parikshit Maharaj obviously was saved by Krishna in the womb, right? When he was in the womb of Uttara, he was saved. Imagine, Krishna himself is coming to save someone. I mean, that guy would be coming out and dancing, you know. I mean, come on. Krishna saved me. Right? Obviously from Ashwatthama, right? And obviously, Parikshit Maharaj was a very amazing Vaishnav, advanced Vaishnav. So, when the Pandavas, they decided that Kali is entering, Kali is supposed to come now, they decided it's better to leave now. So, untimely, they were leaving. But when they were leaving, they were thinking that someone has to become the emperor now. You know, someone has to take charge. Who is better than Parikshit Maharaj? So they decided, okay, we'll enthrone Parikshit Maharaj as the emperor of the world. So we can understand who is Parikshit Maharaj. We saw that verse, right? He was a great Vaishnav, at the same time was a great emperor. In 42nd verse of this chapter, actually let's go to that verse. Prabhu, can we go to the 42nd verse of the same chapter? There is a purport. 42, same chapter 42. Down, purport. 43. Sorry. 43. Yeah, here it came. Yeah. So here the definition of a leader is mentioned somewhere. Ideal king. So right, we are talking about he was enthroned as the king. Obviously, he's a great Vaishnav, right? Someone for whom Krishna is coming all the way to protect him. I mean, kuch to baat hai. I mean, he has something, right? But at the same time, he's an ideal king also. And what are Srila Prabhupada is amazing. See, the way he describes ideal king, definition of ideal king. 3 things, that's it. If these 3 things are there in an ideal king, then he's a good leader, right? So what are the 3 things? An ideal king thoroughly trained by culture. He should be culture, that's sadachar, right? Or he should be sensitive. And then devotional service, spirituality, right? That should be there. And martial spirit, which is strength. So 3 things Srila Prabhupada is mentioning here. That an ideal king should be sensitive, he should possess strength, and he should be spiritual. And we see in the life of Parikshit Maharaj, all these 3 things were there. And from whom it was coming? From Yudhishthira Maharaj, Bhima, and obviously Arjun, right? Yudhishthira Maharaj personifies sensitivity, right? When Yaksha asked Yudhishthira Maharaj, that Yudhishthira Maharaj was obviously alive, and all the other four brothers of Yudhishthira Maharaj were lying dead. Yaksha asked that, okay, one person I can make alive. Whom you want? Right? Whom did Yudhishthira Maharaj chose? Nakul. Right? Imagine war is going to happen. Who will you choose? Maybe Arjun or Bhima, right? But Yudhishthira Maharaj chose Nakul. And what was his reason? He said that my mother Kunti has a co-wife, Madri. So when she sees that Kunti has a son, one son remaining, but I don't have anything, she'll be so sad. Right? So, Nakul. Right? I mean, that needs a lot of guts actually. And Yaksha got he was so amazed just by the answer. He said, man, rula diya. He said, Yeah, I'm so pleased. I'll make alive all the force, all remaining three also. Right? So that was Yudhishthira Maharaj. But that sensitivity is not enough. Why? Because then when Vyasadeva came and told Yudhishthira Maharaj that there is soon after 13 years there is going to be an imminent war. You cannot stop it. After 13 years there is going to be a war. And what Yudhishthira Maharaj did then, he decided, okay, if this is going to happen, then I will make sure that with any seniors, with anyone else, I'll make sure that I speak properly. I'll not do any, fights or unnecessary fights, because that will lead to war. Right? And after that only, he agreed to all the things that Dhritarashtra said and whatever. So sensitivity itself is not enough. What more is needed is strength. Strength to take that on yourself, like battle, that war is going to happen. And that is signified by Bhima. Right? And obviously, spirituality comes from Arjuna. So Parikshit Maharaj is coming in a lineage where sensitivity, strength, spirituality, all three are there. All three are there together, and that's why he's an ideal king. He's an ideal king. Right? All these three things were there in Parikshit Maharaj. And it's all coming from his three ancestors. Correct? With Arjuna, one devotee was mentioning, interesting. He said that why did Krishna spoke Bhagavad Gita to Arjun? Obviously, he says that, you're my dear friend. But what is obviously there are many reasons. Devotees can give many reasons. One of the reasons he gave is that devotee Krishna in Vrindavan, one of his friends' name, Gopal's name is Arjun Sakha. Not Krishna Sakha, Arjun. Krishna Sakha is obviously, he is Krishna Sakha. Arjun Sakha. So he said that whenever he calls out the name Arjuna, he remembers Braja, he remembers Vrindavan. And obviously Krishna never leaves Vrindavan. So he just becomes happy talking to Arjuna. So the devotee was mentioning that is the reason why Krishna spoke Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna. Amazing. And how Krishna in the heart, comes out with various reasons, right? From the lips of the devotees. Right? Sometimes we might not hear directly from Krishna, or maybe through scriptures, but then the Mahabhagavats are there, to share such gems, right? So, yeah. So basically, then Parikshit Maharaj was obviously enthroned, and then Parikshit Maharaj was going to places and places, and then he comes to know that Kali has entered. Kali has entered, and then he went to that place so that he can stop Kali. So there he saw there was Dharma. Dharma and Dharani was there, bull and cow, and Dharma was talking to the cow. And there was a Shudra, like a person, who was dressed like a king, and he was beating them. Right? So Parikshit Maharaj saw that, and Parikshit Maharaj was like, what is happening here? Right? So then he comes to know that Kali has entered. This is Kali. Right? If in case you're wondering, Kali is okay. So what? We can... Actually, let's read. Prabhu, can we go to 12th canto, 2nd chapter? These are symptoms of Kali Yuga. Just in case you're thinking, so what? Kali is there. So, we are good. So, we can see. No, 12th canto, 2nd chapter. These are the symptoms of Kali. We'll read the first... can you go down? I don't know how many verses. Can you go down? Down. So we can scroll down. Yeah, scroll down more. No. Just keep scrolling. By the time of each. Yeah. Till 11th verse, Prabhu. 11th verse we'll read. We'll read the entire 11 verses. Shagun, we'll read all 11. We'll read the 11 verses. It talks about the symptoms of Kali Yuga. We can go again back to the first verse. From there we can read. We'll read just a translation. Devotees can volunteer 5 verses. We can read, or 3, whatever. So no issue. Yeah, please. Go ahead, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Shukadev Goswami said, "Then, O king, religion, truthfulness, cleanliness, tolerance, mercy, duration of life, physical strength, and memory will all diminish day by day because of the powerful influence of the age of Kali. In Kali Yuga, wealth alone will be considered the sign of a man's good birth."
Right? Correct me if somewhere this scripture is incorrect.
Wealth alone will be considered the sign of a man's good birth, proper behavior, and fine qualities. The law and justice will be applied only on the basis of one's power. Men and women will live together merely because of superficial attraction, and success in business will depend on deceit. Womanliness and manliness will be judged according to one's expertise in sex, and a man will be known as a Brahmana just by his wearing a thread.
There was one. I saw that thread. There was one devotee, disciple of Srila Prabhupada. So when he got Brahman initiation, he was little, I'm Brahmana now, right? Especially, so Western, he was little. So Srila Prabhupada could sense it, that there is some pride here. So because he was like again checking his Brahmana thread and like that. So then Srila Prabhupada started giving a class, and then the mic was again falling. This is common in ISKCON. The mic falling. So then Srila Prabhupada called the disciple and said, "Give your Brahman thread." And that disciple was like, "Brahman thread? My Brahman thread?" And then, yeah, give your Brahman thread. He took the Brahman thread and he tied. And then he said that, indirectly he was trying to say that this Brahman thread or any other thing that we have in spiritual life is meant to actually spread Krishna consciousness. Otherwise there is no use. So through this mic, he was spreading Krishna consciousness. So otherwise, there is no point. Sorry to interrupt you. Yeah.
A person's spiritual position will be ascertained merely according to external symbols. And on that same basis, people will change from one spiritual order to the next. A person's proprietary will be seriously questioned if he does not earn a good living. And one who is very clever at juggling words will be considered a learned scholar.
Yeah, if you see, they are speaking about living, right? If you see any parent, when they go for their daughter, let's say, first thing they will ask is, chanting and all, that will be there. First thing they'll ask is, how much do you earn? Where do you work? Is that company I know or not? Right? So, or he is not in his senses completely. If he says that, I'm earning something meager. So you see that even how much ever Krishna consciousness will be practicing on something, but when it comes to marriage or something, you will ask this question, right? How much do you earn? Right? So we see that, right? This is Kali Yuga. And there was one more point. Can you go up a little bit? Fourth point. Juggling words. Right? Juggling words. You see now, right? Motivational speakers. Like Amoglila Prabhu, there's a 2-minute video on. He speaks on motivational speakers. You should watch it. Indirectly, he's saying that, there is no substance. But just by juggling of words, person gets enamored. My God, what did he say? Right? So we see the juggling words. There are different kinds of biases. And there is something called as anchor bias. We'll see that throughout this session, we'll see different kinds of biases. There is anchor bias. There is framing bias. Then there is self-serving bias. This is more like a framing bias. You're juggling the words just so that other guy can get convinced. You're framing it in such a way, other person get convinced. Obviously, there are positive side of it also. Anchor bias is also good. You present something initially itself, so that person has that in his head completely. So, anyways, go ahead.
I have one comment on that. Like in our office, people file the patent. Like generally we say that those who file patents are very intelligent people. So generally the person writes those who did the research, he says that I can't understand my patent because the legal department framed in such a way that I only don't understand what exactly it is. So exactly. It's like a juggling of words is the sign of scholars. I was thinking how they juggle the words.
Yeah, I remember once I wrote the research paper. It was just a simple thing. It was just something we had tested, and I just wrote it. And my teacher, thesis teacher, she told that you write the paper first. And I completed in five lines. I completed. There was nothing much. And then I gave for review, and it came back as 3 pages. And I felt it is the same statement is coming in different ways. It got selected also in IEEE. So yeah, juggling of words.
A person will be judged unholy if he does not have money, and hypocrisy will be accepted as virtue. Marriage will be arranged simply by verbal agreements, and a person will think he is fit to appear in public if he has merely taken a bath. A sacred place will be taken to consist of no more than a reservoir of water located at a distance, and beauty will be thought to depend on one's hairstyle. Filling the belly will become the goal of life, and one who is audacious will be accepted as truthful. He who can maintain a family will be regarded as an expert man, and the principles of religion will be observed only for the sake of reputation.
As the earth thus becomes crowded with a corrupt population, whoever among any of the social classes shows himself to be the strongest will gain political power. Losing their wives and properties to such avaricious and merciless rulers who will behave no better than ordinary thieves, the citizens will flee to the mountains and forests. Harassed by famine and excessive taxes, people will resort to eating leaves, roots, flesh, wild honey.
It's coming. If in case you're thinking, not yet. It's coming.
Fruits, flowers, and seeds. Struck by drought, they will become completely ruined.
Yeah, someone can read 2 more.
The citizens will suffer greatly from cold, wind, heat, rain, and snow. They will be further tormented by quarrels, hunger, thirst, disease, and severe anxiety. The maximum duration of life for human beings in Kali Yuga will become 50 years.
Yeah, 50 years. We saw the effect of COVID, right? Maximum people, which I heard recently, not so much in follow news, but when I come to know that someone has left, and when I see when they left, it was during this period only, 22, right? So, COVID was tough. It just shows the effect of Kali Yuga, right? Once Chandramouli Swami Maharaj, he was sharing this story about from Mahabharata, and he was saying that once there was a person, and he saw that there is a field where crops were there. There is a big field, and that field is protected by a fence, and that field is protected by a fence. And suddenly he is saying that fence is slowly coming inside and eating the crops. So that man was completely confused, that fence eating the crops inside, what is happening? So he decided, I will go to Yudhishthir Maharaja, I will ask him. He will know this, what is happening. So that day Yudhishthir Maharaj was a little busy, lot of things. So Bhima said that whoever comes, first they have to go through me. If it's really something very urgent, only then, it happens, right? Sometimes we say, if you have to speak to someone, you said first you have to talk to the secretary, right? If it passes, if something more urgent, then you go to the higher up. So Yudhishthira said, yeah, it's good. I will be able to complete my some stuff by the time. So this person comes and he says that, I want to meet Yudhishthira Maharaj. Bhima said, he's busy. You tell me, what is the problem? He said, okay, I saw a field. I'm seeing a field which is protected nicely by fence, which is good. But suddenly I'm seeing that fence is coming inside and it is eating the crops. I'm baffled. What is happening? So this, Bhima got confused. What is happening? He's also saying, what is happening? He said, okay, this is beyond my understanding. You better go to Yudhishthira Maharaj. So he went to Yudhishthira Maharaj. He came back. He was smiling and he left. Then other person came. He said, I want to meet Yudhishthira Maharaj. So Bhima said, no, first you have to tell me, what is your problem? He said, it's weird. Today I was pouring water in a jar and I filled up the jar. And from that jar I was pouring the water into the glasses. And what made me think, I just poured from those glasses again back to jar. But the jar was only half filled. When I filled the jar, it was full filled. And then from jar, when I transferred it to the glasses, it was there. And then when I filled it back in the jar, it was half filled. Bhima said, my God, what kind of people are coming today? What is happening? He said, you go inside only. That's better. So he goes inside. He meets Yudhishthira Maharaj. He comes back. So then he again, third person comes. The third person comes. He says, I want to meet Yudhishthira Maharaj. He said, no, first you have to talk to me. I said, okay. So he said, today I'm very confused. I mean, the sight that I saw, the thing that I saw, I cannot understand what it is. I Googled also, I couldn't find it. What's going on? I said, what did you see? He said, I saw a needle, and from that needle, an elephant was able to go, but the tail got stuck. The elephant went, but the end tail got stuck. I couldn't understand how that is possible. So Bhima said, yeah, how is that possible? So Bhima also couldn't understand. Bhima said, okay, you go and ask Yudhishthira Maharaj. So he came back, and he was smiling, he was convinced, then he left. The fourth person came. And said, I want to meet Yudhishthira Maharaj. Bhima said, no, first talk to me. So this person said, okay. He said, I'm a little confused. I saw a very big giant rock, which thousands of people are trying to move. But not even an inch they are able to move it. But then I saw a saffron sadhu, just by his cloth's thread, he just tried to put down the rock at the base, and the rock moved. How is it possible? So Bhima said, how is it possible? He said, okay, you go inside. So he went inside. He was convinced. He left. Bhima was confused that what exactly just happened. These four people came. They had seen certain things. I couldn't understand what exactly are those things. What is exactly happening? So it's an amazing story. Chandramauli Maharaj was saying, it just struck to me. So then Bhima went to Yudhishthira Maharaj and said, what is happening? You tell me exactly, what did you tell them that they were convinced? What does those four things that happened signify? So he said, the first thing, that is a field, and was protected by fence, and the same fence is now eating the crops. That signifies that Kali Yuga is coming, and the things that are supposed to protect you will be the things that will actually eat you up. Right? And we see that, right? Politicians. They are the ones who are supposed to protect us, but they are the ones who are taking all the money. Right? Taxes, and more taxes. Correct? Insurance. You try to get your parents here, first thing you think is not about the flight rates, you think about the insurance. Right? Insurance, so high. Recently I was talking to, it was Sunday feast. I was outside standing. It was just Prasadam was about to start. And there was one, devotee parent whose kids were almost going to college. Other one was about to. So sometimes as a parent, you have sometimes some or the other questions come. So I asked, what is the cost of college, Prabhu? How much does it cost to educate a child? And that devotee said, Prabhu, you have no idea. It is, Mataji is here, maybe she can vouch for it. He said, Prabhu, $500,000 for one child. I said, $500,000 for one child? That education system is supposed to protect. They are taking away everything. What will you do? He said, yeah, Prabhu. Entire life you first pay the mortgage and then you pay loan. That's why you see so many youths are, under the burden of that heavy education loans. Correct? So Yudhishthira Maharaj was saying that the people who are supposed to protect you will be the people who will take away everything from you. Sign of Kali Yuga. Then Bhima said, okay, what does second thing? What does that mean? The jar was filled, then it was filled up in the glasses, and then when back it came, it was half filled. He said, in Kali Yuga, there will be no gratitude. You do something for someone, but in return, you'll only get half of it. right? Like for example, in companies, right? The employee is working Saturday, Sunday, evenings, whenever it is possible. Even though chanting, if ping come, they will try to fix the issue first, right? And during the one-on-ones, bonus time comes, manager will be so happy. He will be saying, "You are amazing, man. All the QEs and everyone is just singing eulogy about you." But, and there will be a big list then, right? So you're doing everything, but then you realize there is no gratitude, right? Parents are doing everything, but then child doesn't reciprocate, right? Husband thinks the wife is not reciprocating, wife thinks husband is not reciprocating. And then there's constant quarrel, right? So Yudhishthira Maharaj is saying that shows there is lack of gratitude. That's what will happen in Kali Yuga. Even before Kali Yuga, if you see the life of Vidura and Dhritarashtra, right? They were both born from the same, right, Vyasadeva. But both had different perspectives, right? Vidura was grateful. Even he was from a Shudra, but still he was very happy. He was still very grateful for whatever he has got, right? And that's why Krishna came to his house. And Dhritarashtra, he got much more actually in one sense, but still he was always sad, right? He was always ungrateful. He always thought that I am a king, but I am blind. Instead, he could have thought, I am blind, still I am a king. Right? It's the same words, but where we are giving our emphasis. So, Yudhishthira Maharaj was saying that people will be ungrateful. People will not have gratitude as much. Right? Nowadays, if you see on the LinkedIn, it's completely filled. It's a sad state, right? So many layoffs are happening. People with 20 years of working in the company, now they are saying, I gave my life, and what am I getting in return? Now they are realizing that you can't give your life to a company, right? That's why Neha Bikramanashosti Pratyavayana Vidate. Even in this life, the reciprocation will not come. But Krishna, even in your multiple lives also, he will remember. That's why taking shelter of Krishna is actually much better rather than anyone else, right? So Yudhishthira Maharaj says the second thing is lack of gratitude. He said, okay, I understood that. But how did elephant went inside the needle, but the tail got stuck? So then he said that shows that in Kali Yuga, the big guys, the big thieves might able to get away. The small ones will get stuck. The small ones will go to jail, but the big guys will be able to get away. Because the more the money, the better the lawyers you hire. And then how much ever lie it is, the way you present it, which is framing bias, you can show it as a truth, right? We saw, right, two gentlemen who did big scams in India, and now they just left India somehow, right? Live like king size. Now they left, right? They were able to escape. And people who are small people, sometimes they get stuck. This is a sign of Kali Yuga. More the money, more the power, and you might get away from punishment. He said, okay, but how the thread was able to move the rock? He said, Kaler dosha nide rajan asti eka mahan gunan kirtanad eva krishnasya mukta sangha parabrajat. You have already understood that this material world, this Kali Yuga, is full of doshas, full of faults. There are so many faults in this material world. But there is one good thing, like a thread which is not so much weight, right? Simple. Just by chanting the holy names of the Lord, all the doshas, which is filled like a rock, big like our heart, so many faults are there, but that big rock, hard-hearted rock, can also move just by chanting the holy names of the Lord. And that is the gift in Kali Yuga. That is a gift in Kali Yuga. So even if there is lack of gratitude, even if people who are trying to protect will actually kill us or take the money or whatever, and even if the big guys get away and small guys get stuck, but still the only shelter that we have is that which has no weight. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. He said that is the reason this Hare Krishna Mahamantra is great. In Kali Yuga, that is our only shelter. So like this, Parikshit Maharaj, coming back to Parikshit Maharaj. Parikshit Maharaj saw this Kali is there. I was beating the Dharma. And so then Parikshit Maharaj asked Kali, you better leave this place. You better leave this place. You will create havoc. And then Kali said, no, you're a king. You have to give shelter. That is the nature of the king. You have to give shelter. So, you give me shelter. Then he gives shelter at 4 places. And then he says, no, one more. Because in that kingdom, imagine, that was Parikshit Maharaj. Those kind of things used to not happen only. No intoxication, no gambling, no meat eating. What is the 4th one? No illicit sex. Right? None of these things are happening. So, luckily during my initiation, I was able to remember the 4 things. Here it's okay. he said, these things are anyways not happening. Give me one more place. Then he said, where the gold is getting hoarded, right? Where is the gold? Give me that place. So Parikshit Maharaj said, yes, okay, I'll give you. Why? Because he knew that there is a positive sign also of Kali Yuga, and that is, Kali Yuga is so degraded. Just if you think of something positive, you will have some positive effect on it. Or with the chanting of the holy name. So he said, okay, you can stay a little bit. And then he goes to Dharma. Right? He goes to Dharma and he says, what has happened to you? Right? What has happened to you? He had only 1 leg, and that was truthfulness. Right? Dharma stands on 4 legs. Yesterday I was thinking, when I was thinking of this pastime, it was getting hard for me to remember these 4 things. And usually during my school days, I used to create acronyms just so that I can remember. So I was thinking what acronym. I was seeing these 4 words. It is difficult. Then I was thinking that if a life has to be blissful, then these 4 things are necessary. So I was thinking the acronym as MAST, M-A-S-T. M stands for mercy, A stands for austerity, S is shaucham, that is cleanliness, and T is truthfulness. If it helps, you can take it. Otherwise, up to you. Just my brain is so small, it's difficult for me to remember things sometimes. So he said, truthfulness. Truthfulness is the only thing that will remain in Kali Yuga. But if we think deeply, we don't see really truthfulness so much. Right? It lies everywhere. So one devotee once was reflecting that what is that we can still say, even after seeing so much lies, right? So much lies there everywhere. We discussed, right, how big money, and then even a lie you can prove as truth. We don't know whether men went to moon or not. Anyways, that's a separate 5-hour class. But the point is, there are so many different things going on. So how can we say there is still truthfulness in Kali Yuga? There is still truthfulness. There's one leg of Dharma is still there. How can we say that? And the devotee said that's because the scripture is still existing. Because of scripture still existing, there is still truthfulness in this material world. In this Kali Yuga, still that truthfulness will be there because scriptures are there. And that's why we are so fortunate that we have this Srimad Bhagavatam still there. Otherwise, what will happen? Right? And we have Mahabhagavats like Srila Prabhupada. Right? It's because of these scriptures, this 4th leg of Dharma is still there. Once I was driving I was just taking one very senior Vaishnava, I was driving him. And suddenly he said that if Srila Prabhupada won't have been there in my life would have become miserable. And he was just reflecting on that, he was paused. And I was looking at him, I was thinking, what? I look up to you and you're saying your life will become miserable? And then I was thinking, that's his humility that he's saying. But the point is that without Srila Prabhupada, our life would have been miserable because no Srimad Bhagavatam, right? That was his humility that he, obviously, a disciple or a grand disciple always shows himself as very inferior in front of his spiritual master and grand spiritual master. One Srila Prabhupada said, right, I was defeated by my spiritual master. What Srila Prabhupada did, we can't even imagine what he did, right, what he accomplished. And still he said, I was defeated by my spiritual master. Right? He wanted to join Gandhi's movement, but then he was defeated by spiritual master. He always says that. When he saw so many disciples coming, he said, my spiritual master has sent you all. Right? So it's interesting that because of scripture, we are still seeing Dharma. we are still saying Dharma. Once Srila Prabhupada said that, suddenly he said that nothing can be done. Damage is already done. Nothing can be done now, damage is already done. And disciple was thinking, what damage is done? I mean, temple is okay. I mean, so he said, no, the books are already out. Now whatever they may do, the books are already out. So damage will happen. Right, damage will happen. Once, it was either Raseshi Mataji, Sukeshi Mataji or Kameshi Mataji, either one of them. They went for book distribution. And within 2 hours, they came back to temple. Because they were asked to leave. So they came back to the temple. They were a little sad. And Ramananda Prabhu was here. So they told Ramananda Prabhu that Prabhu, we were kicked out in 2 hours only. And Prabhu was smiling. And I was thinking, I mean, how can someone smile? And then Prabhu said exactly the same thing. That, Mataji, don't worry, damage is already done. That 2 hours also, someone would have taken some books and life would be transformed for sure. We see the story of Shraddha Mataji, obviously, right? Amazing. And Adin Prabhu, Acyuta Kumar Prabhu, right? Just by taking books, how their life got transformed. Once there was a group of Burmese doctors. They had come to New York to attend some conference, and there was one Hare Krishna devotee. I mean, we are there everywhere. We are covering the entire earth. So this devotee gave this Burmese doctors Back to Godhead magazine, and they took the magazine. They thought it's something is there, and they went back to the hotel, and they realized that it's not something that they were looking for. So they decided to throw it, and that the Burmese doctor, another guy said, "Why don't you give to that Hindu doctor? He's also around with us. You give it to him." So he gave it to the Hindu doctor. Hindu doctor opened it. He said, "It might not be useful for me so much." So he kept it in his shelf. When he went back to Myanmar, he kept it in his shelf and was just lying there for almost 40 years. And then his son, it said that he wanted to learn English. So he was just going through the shelf. He saw suddenly this book, Back to Godhead. He was started reading that book. And in that, there was a slip. It was mentioned that if you also want book coming back, then you send a letter to so-and-so place. So he said, okay, for free, if someone is sending. I mean, see, Indians, if you go to book table, if you just put a sign, free book distribution, free books, and if Indians are coming, you have to hide that sign. You have to hide that sign, otherwise the entire table will be over. So this guy said, okay, for free book is coming, I have to just send a letter. He sent a letter. That letter came to, 40 years we are talking about. A letter came to Los Angeles, Temple, Los Angeles Central, called Thailand. In Thailand, it said that there's one devotee, there is one new person in Myanmar who's asking for a book. There's not been any preaching happening in Myanmar. Just give some association to him. Imagine, this is happening after 40 years. And it's just amazing, right? ISKCON is connected so nicely. Like, it's like one devotee, jokingly, he said, it's like a mafia. Once you have entered it, you know too much that you can't come out. You know so much about Krishna. Now it is so tough to come out now, because even if you want to go back to your material life, you will keep thinking, what am I doing? What am I doing? Because that Srila Prabhupada's purport will be haunting you. So it's like that. You can't come out once you come inside. So it's well connected. So he said, this guy said, devotee, he went to his house and he said, every 6 months I will come and meet. If you need anything, I'll give you. And he used to give Srila Prabhupada's tapes. And this devotee kept reading, this new person in Myanmar. And then slowly, he built an entire temple, thousands of devotees, just through that one Back to Godhead magazine. Now, in 2022, he left the world. Shivas Pandit Prabhu, from Myanmar. Amazing Vaishnava. But we again see just one book, which was not supposed to even, sometimes we go out for books, a lot of times it happens, we ask this question, who will take, what will happen to those books? Where is it going? Right? You never know, how Krishna reciprocates. It's just amazing. It's just amazing. Right? So, yeah. We are just fortunate that we got this opportunity to read. We have not started the class. Sorry. Now we will start. just got the opportunity to read Srimad Bhagavatam, just Bhagavad Gita, Chaitanya. These books are like gold mines. And the choice is ours, what we want to do out of it. Okay, we'll start now. So, we'll read about now Kali Yuga, Dharma. He comes back now. When he comes back, he's still riding on the horse, and he's trying to go villages and villages. And suddenly he becomes thirsty, hungry, right? So then that's where the entire story unravels. So, Prabhu, we can go to the 24th verse. We'll start reading from there. Actually, we'll take a pause here. We'll read 24th verse after that. If anyone wants to share any reflection, something that, then they can share something that, and anything they want to just add or any corrections.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Then Kautukan, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you so much for the powerful class. It was so amazing. I always eagerly wait for this your classes. It's so powerful, so much nice stories. You are actually our Shravanacharya. You listen so much to other devotees, and you bring gems. Every sentence, everything you say, it's so powerful and it's so engaging. I was just looking at the time and I was like, okay, 9:30, wow. It's like 90 minutes has passed and I was like, it's just started as you said. So thank you so much. So verse, I wanted to share the verse which we read at first. It says that devotees, that at the time of the death there is no misconception. So I was thinking about Varaha Puran, where Krishna says that if devotee has performed all the duties, then he personally comes back, personally comes to remind his devotee and take him back. So I was just that reminded me of that.
Yeah, Vaishika Maharaj says, right, Khatvanga moment, right? He wrote an article, Khatvanga moment, and he says that when he came to know that he has only one muhurat, right, something like that, which is 48 minutes or 1 hour. I just gave third canto exam. There are two places. One is 48 minutes, other place 1 hour. But around that time, when he came to know one muhurat, nowadays people have laundry list of things to do before I die, right? But Maharaj Khatvanga, he just decided I know what I have to do now. I have to take shelter, right? He immediately took shelter of Krishna. So that's why these devotees are glorified. So thank you, Prabhu. They remember what is the final thing that they have to do. Yeah. Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, thank you for the nice class and so many nice stories and points. I liked when you said that we can understand a devotee's advancement by how he's reading Srimad Bhagavatam, whether he's reading the Srimad Bhagavatam through his own emotions or he's seeing his emotions through Srimad Bhagavatam. So that shows the advancement of the devotee. That was really powerful. And about the acronym MUST, that is also very nice. Mercy, austerity,
a tiny brain, it's sometimes difficult to remember things.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Yes, Naveen, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. First, I wanted to thank you for the class so far because I enjoyed all the comedic stories you give too. Like if you can make somebody laugh in a class, you're doing a good job, I heard. So you're a very good speaker. One question I had for you is, like, there are all these nice stories you mentioned, especially with Yudhishthira Maharaj and Bhima and Arjuna. Just curious, what are the sources for these stories? Like, is it in the Mahabharata originally, or like where are you pulling these from?
So the story about Kali Yuga that I said, the 4 things, Chandramauli Maharaj was mentioning that it is coming from Mahabharata. And the other one, which was the other one, Arjuna, which one? Which story you're talking about? Which? Yeah, that one completely from Mahabharata. It is from Mahabharata. And for me, authorities, because it's coming from the lips of Chandramauli Maharaj, so I take it as an authority. Actually, sometimes I was just reflecting on one thing. Acharyas actually, even some devotees have mentioned this, that those stories which are in line of our Vedic teachings or our Gaudiya Vaishnava teachings, we can accept it. If it's in line, if there is some things which can go haywire, then better we don't discuss it. But if it is exactly like based on teachings, then we can accept it. And this entire story, when it just goes to show whatever Srila Prabhupada is saying, whatever Srimad Bhagavatam is saying, exactly like that. Yeah, Kare dosha nidhe Rajan. Yeah, Tadya Seva Prabhu. Yes.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dhanavad Pranam.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
So, excellent class. I read recently the 12th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, and I was wondering, how accurately Srimad Bhagavatam describes Kali Yuga. Regarding politicians, can you please repeat that verse and also explain? And then the next thing is, I just want to, give my thoughts on the what do you call the average age of people in Kali Yuga. Bhagavatam says that it will be 50 years.
Yes.
I was wondering, just 100 years back, I've seen people living up to 75, 80, or maybe 85. So then maybe this figure is a little bit exaggerated, by Srimad Bhagavatam. I was thinking like that. But then recently I started seeing people, one of my classmates, he left his body at the age of 46, not even 50, 46. And the reason for his passing, for his death is heart attack. He was in so much stress, financial stress, and nobody was helping him. And eventually that financial stress caused him to die very early. So Bhagavatam is it's not joking when it says the average age of a person in Kali Yuga will be 50 years.
Yeah.
So can you please go through the words on the politicians, how these politicians will behave in Kali Yuga? And, can you please discuss again and share your thoughts on that?
Yeah, bro. So thank you, bro. First thing, I just want to add to your point. Whenever we discuss the symptoms of Kali, and whenever this section is read, that one question that comes is this one only, about I don't see 50 age, right? In fact, I'm seeing the age being increasing because of the medical advancement and all these things. But then once this one devotee was mentioning that if you just see a very short span of life, then you might see like how sinusoidal waves are there. Sometimes there will be little up and down. But if you see over a period of time, if you compare with Dwapar Yuga, Kali Yuga, and the way things are going, then you will be convinced that, yeah, definitely things are deteriorating. Obviously, we might not be able to see. I mean, obviously, the COVID is a big answer to a certain extent. But if you see holistically, including Dwapar Yuga, Treta Yuga, Satya Yuga, if you see just only Australia's Guru Maharaj did for so many thousands of years, right? So we can't even do for seconds of years. I mean, even seconds also we can't spend, right? So that's we are talking about big time frame difference. And when talking about politicians, I mean, it's a tough thing. They are at a post, and Srila Prabhupada says that Kali Yuga is in such a way that there is a verse in Srimad Bhagavatam which says, we have discussed 4 places, right, where Kali Yuga stays. There's another verse in Srimad Bhagavatam which says there are more 3 places, where there are more 3 things where Kali Yuga resides. The 3 things are objects. Second is objects we see, right? You might be sober of the person, but suddenly you get a Ferrari car. Zoom! It just takes control over you, right? That's the effect of Kali, right? It might happen, correct? So he says objects. Second, Bhagavatam says places. Just being in a certain place, the vibe of that place can take effect on you. Just being in that place, right? The devotees used to say to some people, told Srila Prabhupada, we'll go to bars and we'll do book distribution. And Srila Prabhupada said, make sure you come back also. Right? And the place itself is like that, right? And third is personalities. Just being with some person who might be completely, we see that, right? Some people, you might see something, sometimes in Kali, sometimes in not, right? But some people are just born to to spread Kali, right? So just being with those personalities just takes upon you. So it just the way the Kali Yuga is there, and it just reminds us that better we leave soon, otherwise things are going to get more nasty, right? Things are going to get more nasty. Yeah, thank you. I don't know whether I answered his question, but just reflecting. Thank you, Tadya Seva Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
I was just going to add on to that, like something Vaisheshika Maharaj says often is that, like in politicians in Kali Yuga, for example, or anybody too, when you get power, instead of using the power to do good in that post, you just use the power to stay in power more. So that's one symptom.
I mean, it's what do you call it? If you're alcoholic, there is a word for it. I'm forgetting, because you got so much that power is getting into your brain that it's just difficult to give up, right? Addiction. Yes, sorry, that is the word I was looking for. Addiction. Right. Thank you, Mataji. Yeah. Good. After that, Adin Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Regarding the acronym, so I heard something similar from Radheshyam Prabhu. The must acronym.
Oh, he said that?
No, he said something like match, M-A-T-C-H. It's like mercy,
T-C-H.
mercy, austerity, truthfulness, cleanliness.
So H, where is H coming from?
Yeah, so Prabhu said Harinam.
That's a good one. Harinam. Yeah, this is very good. Yeah, thank you, Prabhu.
Share that, Prabhu.
Yeah, Adin Prabhu, you want to share? Okay, match. I'll try to remember that. It's just easier, right? You can remember things if Harinam. Nice.
Hare Krishna, Acyuta Chaitanya Prabhu. Please accept my humble obeisances. I had three reflections, one question, Prabhu. One Kautuk already covered with the reading Srimad Bhagavatam and analyzing our emotions. That's such a big topic. I find myself doing both and then oscillating between the two. So that was really nice to hear from someone else. And then to add on to that, the three ways to analyze our emotions through the Srimad Bhagavatam. You said the literal meaning, the didactical, where we assimilate the lesson, and then the metaphorical. Those 3 points, so nice. And then the second regarding a king's qualities is if he's thoroughly cultured, and you use the word sensitivity, so he should be very sensitive. So now you're speaking in terms of psychological intelligence and being able to adapt to the present moment situation. What is
dealing with people, sadachar, like that.
That was so nice, very, very sweet and insightful. And the question in regards to these three things here is, how can we read the Srimad Bhagavatam, analyzing our emotions, and develop these king-like qualities within ourselves to benefit ourselves and inspire others also to at least theoretically accept some of these principles that are stated in the Krishna consciousness movement, please.
Yeah, so first thing regarding the reflection, what was the first point that you mentioned? First point?
It was about analyzing Srimad Bhagavatam.
Yeah, so I was just reflecting on that during Srimad Bhagavatam, when we read also, sometimes even if we don't want, but still we sometimes doubt certain things. Right? It is so difficult, but at the same time we have to have that complete conviction that it's possible that I'm not able to understand, but that doesn't mean there's a glitch, there's a typo. Right? That continuous faith is very necessary. So thank you, Prabhu. Yeah, so we have to keep our perceptions. We have to understand that we have a limited perception. Even if you might say, I'm able to see this, but still explain me. But you have to understand that we have a limited perception. It is as simple as that, right? We might see certain things and still it might be wrong, right? In the material, but that's how the world is. Even if it's complete dark, we can't see your hand. So how can we depend on our five senses? So thank you. So that we have to keep our emotions on the side. But when we are seeing our day-to-day activities, we have to see through the lens of Srimad Bhagavatam, as we discussed. Thank you. And your question about kingly qualities. I mean, there are two parts to it. One is when you are put in a position like that, sometimes, let's say leadership position, and let's say due to some reason you don't have those qualities, but just going through that journey, right? And if you're sincere, Krishna will help you to develop those qualities. Because Krishna is saying that this person is trying to do this service. For this service, these are the qualities needed. But he's lacking those qualities. But he's the best person to do this. And how can I facilitate him? Right? And then that's why we use the word empowerment, right? Why we use empowerment? Empowerment means that this guy was not actually capable to do that, but somehow he did it. Right? And he cannot just do like that only. That means he got that qualities. That's why he was able to do. So those empowerment comes. And obviously, I mean, spiritual master prays for you. I mean, that's goes without saying. Spiritual master prays for you. We might not see it. That, okay, is he telling my name? But he actually prays for us. That's the connection. From our side, we have given our vow, and from his side, the prayers. That's how the bonding is. And second thing, there's a very standard answer, this one, is be with people who actually have developed those qualities. It just helps us. As we discussed that some personalities are born to spread Kali. We are being with them, then we will also develop those kind of things. Similarly, some are born spiritual. They just spread those kind of qualities, and just sitting with them, just understanding what it is. And we get inspired to follow that way. So yeah, if someone want to share something more, please. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhu. I hope it helped.
Hare Krishna, Acyuta, Prabhu.
Yes,
Dhanat Pranam. Thank you so much for your class, Prabhu. It was really nice stories, and especially the 4 allegorical stories. I was continuously thinking what will be the answers for those stories. Yeah, thank you for those stories. And just to add to the point of the empowerment, I was remembering the lecture, the Ramayana series lecture from Shubhavilash Prabhu, where he actually mentions a scenario that Hanuman actually goes to Lanka to meet Sita. So he was very small, and he suddenly expands. So Sita gets bewildered and asks, like, can you show me your real size? Then he actually shows his real size, and he also tells that I'm actually small, but I'm empowered by my spiritual master so that I can take up any task much bigger than myself.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Prabhu. That's very insightful. Yes, Yash Prabhu. We'll take that last, and then we will continue. We have to start.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. First of all, thank you for your class. I felt it was really honest, like especially in the beginning, just very relatable. Like we talked about the fasting and like just waiting till the last minute. Very relatable. It's very useful to hear these things from other devotees and just see that we can overcome it. I also like the story you mentioned about. I think it was the Back to Godhead magazine in Myanmar, and now 40 years later, the boy heard it. And you connected it back to like book distribution. You never know what effect anything will have. And this reminded me of a quote from, I think, a famous athlete. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. So, if let's say you're shooting basketball, if you shoot it, then you might go and it might not. You don't know. But if you don't shoot it, then it definitely won't go.
Yeah, that's a good point, Prabhu. Yes.
Yeah, you just have to endeavor, I guess. And this also reminded me of what when Radhika Raman Prabhu was here. Like one of the first rules he gave about, I think it was before the class, was like it's not about you, it's about Krishna. So just endeavor and then let Krishna work his magic, basically. Yeah. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu. Very nice. Yeah, that basketball example was really great. Good one. Yeah, thank you. Okay, we'll start then. Prabhu, can we go to 20? Oh, it's here. This is 24th verse? No, 18th chapter, Prabhu. First canto's 18th chapter. We can do the advanced view. We'll see if we can cover some purports. I mean, this purports of this section is amazing. Srila Prabhupada So I was talking about different biases at the start. I said one of the biases is framing bias. You frame in such a way the other person gets convinced about that truth, right? And I said that it can act in both ways, positive also, negative also, right? If you see devotees, sometimes they spend so much time in just presenting the class in such a way that the other person gets confused. That's also a positive way, framing bias. Similarly, there is something called as repetitive bias. You say something again and again, and you get convinced after some time, right? Srila Prabhupada does this a lot, right? Every time there is not even a single class where he will not mention that you are not this body, you are the spirit soul, right? In every class. Similarly, in this entire purport, we will not be able to read it entirely. When you read through the entire purport, in every line he will mention for anything, let's say rain is also coming, anything is, In the translation, he will say, that is the reason I'm telling it was the will of the Lord. Again, he will say that this was the will of the Lord. This was the will of the Lord. And Parikshit Maharaj, whatever he did, it was because of the will of the Lord. And just amazing that how Srila Prabhupada is just trying to explain that just that small thing that happened, don't take it to the heart. It was just will of the Lord.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. So Prabhu, there is one thing, I think I heard one devotee, and so it is also said because Parikshit Maharaj said, right, you can stay in the gold, and then he was wearing the crown, and that's why also he did it. But I don't see it in the purport,
so actually that one devotee asked this question, Shankaran Prabhu, in one of the reading sessions. And Shankaran Prabhu said that it's not backed up by Shastra. So, and again, even if, let's say, we don't have the time to go to the Shastra and all, but if some senior Vaishnava is saying that, then we still take it. So, I mean, I never heard from any senior devotee. I mean, on YouTube, yes, you will see these kind of stories. But at least he said that it's not backed up by Shastra. Good point. I mean, while in the class also, I was remembering that pastime, and that's why I did not mention it, because there is no, that's what he said. Did that answer your question? Yeah, okay. Thank you. Prabhu, we can skip the verses. We have only, 15 minutes. So we'll skip the verses. Yeah, we'll just go to translation. So see, in the books, right, we read, once upon a time. Everything is coming from Srimad Bhagavatam. You have to understand that. Yeah, everything is coming from Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay. So someone can volunteer. We'll quickly, 15 minutes are there. And I don't know how much we can cover. There was a lot we can see.
Once upon a time, Maharaj Parikshit, while engaged in hunting in the forest with bow and arrows, became extremely fatigued, hungry and thirsty while following the stags. While searching for a reservoir of water, he entered the hermitage of the well-known Shamika Rishi and saw the sage sitting silently with closed eyes.
Right? So go ahead.
The Muni's sense organs, breath, mind, and intelligence were all restrained from material activities, and he was situated in a trance apart from the three, wakefulness, dream, and unconsciousness, having achieved a transcendental position qualitatively equal with the Supreme Absolute.
Thank you, Prabhu. So 24, 25th, the purport is very good, but we have to skip it because of the time. Prabhu, can you actually click on the purports? We can keep the purports and we can remove the verses. So that way, if there is particular line that I want to highlight on, I can quickly say. At the top, just have the purports. Purport is already there? Okay, perfect. Okay, so, yeah, who wants to read? You can remove the words. See, purport is not there, Prabhu. You can click on purports. You can keep the purports, yeah. And remove the verses. It's okay. We don't have that much time. So, 26th verse, he's talking more on Jnana Yoga. 24, 25th. If you go up, can you go up? Here, Srila Prabhupada starts that little down in the purport. Here he talks about the Supreme Lord is so kind to his pure devotees that in proper time he calls such devotees up to him and thus creates an auspicious circumstance for the devotee. Right? So, indirectly what he's saying? The will of the Lord. I mean, all the purports, from here till last, when I was reading it, everywhere he is mentioning, it's the will of the Lord. So that is repetitive bias. Yeah. Yeah, Maharaj Parikshit was a pure devotee of the Lord and there was no reason for him to become extremely fatigued, hungry and thirsty. Imagine, he was the guy who heard entire Srimad Bhagavatam 7 days without any breaks. Shukadeva Goswami said also, let's take a break, let's have some juices or something, juice break. He said, no, Gayati Vishnu Katha, keep hearing, keep speaking, please. Right? Because a devotee of the Lord never becomes perturbed by such bodily demands. But by the desire of the Lord, even such a devotee can become apparently fatigued and thirsty just to create a situation favorable for his renunciation for worldly relations before one is able to go back to Godhead. And thus, when a devotee is too much absorbed in worldly affairs, the Lord creates a situation to cause indifference. This is the theme throughout the entire Srimad Bhagavatam. I mean, throughout the entire this chapter. There are different kinds of enlightenment, right? I mean, and one devotee was mentioning that this kind of enlightenment is known as destructive enlightenment. So you got enlightenment, but what was the cost of it? Everything was taken away from you. So he said, destructive. Till the time and everything is not destroyed from you, that wakefulness is not coming, that enlightenment that, okay, I have to give up, right? When we realize that, kuch nahi ho sakta ab, when we understand that nothing can be done, I'm gone, that's when we take complete shelter. This is what at least Parikshit Maharaja's situation is showing, right? When he realized that nothing can be done. For a king, what is most important for him? His kingdom, everything, his body, right? Similarly, for a lady, his chastity. Draupadi, she was trying to hold onto the sari, right? But as soon as she realized कि अब कुछ नहीं हो सकता, I mean, I cannot do anything, then she took complete shelter of Krishna, and then Krishna reciprocated, right? So it's destructive enlightenment. It's good till the time when Kunti Maharani says, right, when everything's taken away, then I remember you, right? That is one of the ways. Like we were talking about how everything that we hear day to day, it's all coming from Srimad Bhagavatam. I mean, there is a famous book, The Man Who Sold His Ferrari. Right, the man who that's a book, no? The man who sold his monk. The monk who sold his Ferrari, written by like Robin Sharma or something, and it shows one lawyer. He had his busy life, but suddenly, he realized that what is the purpose of life, right? This guy, Parikshit Maharaj, he didn't just sold his Ferrari. I mean, horses, wife went away, body was supposed to go away, kingdom left, everything, right? So we see that, I mean, what that monk was nothing in front of what Parikshit Maharaj actually went through, right? So this story like a subset in maths terms. It's subset of what Parikshit Maharaj, everything comes from Srimad Bhagavatam. Everything comes from Srimad Bhagavatam. We see here, Parikshit Maharaj, he had to give everything away. He didn't even sold, he didn't get anything out of it. He just gave it away at the last moment. And he understood, he was asking them, what is the purpose of life, right? Amazing, right? Oh yeah, Prabhu, we can go ahead. We can go to the next verse. Yeah, we read this. Yeah, 27. Someone can read.
The sage in meditation was covered by the skin of a stag, and long, compressed hair was scattered all over him. The king, whose palate was dry from thirst, asked him for water. The king, not received by any formal welcome by means of being offered a seat, place, water, and sweet addresses, considered himself neglected, and so thinking, he became angry.
Yeah. So he became angry. Imagine, he's Parikshit Maharaj, who is sensitive, strength, and obviously he's spiritual, right? An ideal king. But still he became angry. We say, and why was it anger? Why was it anger? Because there was a certain desire he had. The desire was of thirst and hunger, which was not getting fulfilled. That very small desire also led to an anger. Right? This is material world. Krishna saying, "Dhyayato visyan pumsa, sangasteshu pajayate, sangas sanjayate kamat, kamat krodho bijayate." Right? Desire, it comes from two things, lust and envy. And then from those two things, anger comes. Right? There is a famous story about two demons, Sunda and Upasunda, and they both were like relatives of Hiranyakashipu, so same mentality. So these guys decided they want to do some austerities, please Brahma. So they did that, and Brahma came and he said, "Now what do you want?" He said, "Only person who can kill us is each other. So he can kill me or I can kill him, no one else." He said, "Okay, tathastu," right? I mean, now they decided, okay, we have a pact now. You don't do anything to me, I will not do anything to you. Both will be happy forever after, right? But that happens only in movies. So they started doing a lot of disruptions in the entire world, and then demigods came to Brahmaji and said, "What is happening here?" Right? So Brahmaji said, "Hold on, things will be sorted out." And then Brahmaji sends a lady, her name is Tilottama. And then both the demons get attracted to her. So one fine day when they both were having dinner, Sunda and Upasunda. So Sunda says, I want you to meet your bhabhi today, my wife. So Upasunda said, what? I also want to, I want you to meet my wife also. Said, oh, same time. Said, yeah. So then she called, Upasunda and Sunda called his wife, and they came to know that Tilottama is the same person. And that because they wanted to enjoy the lust, they started fighting with each other. And what was the result? They both were killed. Those people who were completely not vulnerable to death, supposed to be immortal completely, just because of one girl, succumbed to death. Right? That's lust. Envy, it's mentioned in Bible, there is a story of Cain and Abel. They both, one was farmer, one was shepherd. And then they both made some sacrifice offer to the God. God became happy with one of the person, I think it was Abel. Cain couldn't take it. And then Cain murdered Abel. This is why envy. Krishna says, right? Lust and envy. And then God became angry and then he punished Cain, something like that. So the point is the anger comes just by these two things, lust and envy. What to call of these people? I mean, Brahmaji, he's supposed to be our Adi Guru in terms of line. But he also got angry, right? In the third canto, chapter number 12. As I said, I just gave an exam. Bhakti Vaibhav. In that section, it shows that how Brahmaji, he became angry. He is supposed to be the person who is creating this material world. He has given the task. But when he gets angry, how it all starts. When he's been asked to create living entities, the first thing he starts is with creating 5 kinds of ignorance. Can you imagine? He's our Adi Guru and he's creating 5 kinds of ignorance. Right? Actually, we can go to that verse. Prabhu, can we go to 3:12-2? 3rd canto, 12th chapter, verse number 2. I think we will not have time. Let's see. Anyways, it's interesting. One particular word I want to show you in that. So there are 5 things that Brahma created. First was Tama, second was Moha, third was Mahamoha, fourth one was Tamishram, and fifth one was Mahatamishram. It's in the verse. 5 things. Imagine, spiritual master, in 5 things he has to create these 5 things. Tama means, what does Tama means? That a jiva will forget his swarupa. The entire thing that we are trying to do, we want to remind our swarupa again. But Brahmaji was the one who actually made us forget our swarupa. That's Tama. And then Moha. Moha means thinking that we are this body. Mahamoha means mine. These things are also mine. Then Tamishram and Antatamishram. Anger and excessive anger. These are actually created by Brahmaji. So, Brahmaji, first thing that came in his service was displeasure. He was not happy creating this, but this was his task given to him. First thing that comes in service sometimes is displeasure. Sometimes you're not happy what you are supposed to do, right? Second thing that came is he gave birth to Kumaras, right? 4 Kumaras. And 4 Kumaras said that, he said, you should become Grahasthas. It's the will of the Lord. He said, no, it's the will of the Lord that we become Brahmacharis. Now both are right. Both are right? Because for living entities, they have to create living entities. So Brahmaji is correct, but they are also right. So both are right, both are devotees, but still opposite things. That's how devotional service is so dynamic. We cannot understand, right? Both can have opposing views, but still both are right. But what happened? Their disobedience was there. So first was displeasure. Second one was disobedience. That's what Brahmaji is experiencing. The disobedience led to anger, disgruntled. He was completely disgruntled. How can my kids are not hearing me only? Again, it's coming from Srimad Bhagavatam. It's not something new. It's coming from Srimad Bhagavatam. Brahmaji is saying, my kids are not hearing me only. And then, so displeasure, disobedience, disgruntled. What happened? Rudra came. And because of that, what happened? Disruption. Fourth thing that happened was disruption. Whatever he had done little bit, that also started getting destroyed. And then Brahmaji said, hold on, please, stop it, whatever you're doing, right? And then the fifth thing that happened was, he was given this service, right? And all these things are happening to him. Displeasure, disobedience, disgruntle, disruptions. And finally, fifth thing that happened was distraction. He was distracted, right? The famous or infamous Vak episode. He was distracted. And then the sons were praying. The sons were requesting, this is not right. And then he came into his senses. And then finally, the sixth thing that happened was dissatisfaction. He realized that nothing is happening. I mean, I'm trying so much, but nothing is happening. But then, when Jiva thinks that nothing is happening, that's where Krishna's mercy comes. He got the darshan of Lord's mercy in the form of Swayambhuva Manu and Shatarupa, right? And they gave birth to Priyavrata, Uttanapad, Akuti, Prasuti and Devahuti. It's in 3rd canto, 12th chapter. If you hear this class, you can pass the exam. Just kidding. But even Brahmaji became angry. Even Brahmaji became angry. That is the nature of the material world. He created anger and he only became angry. Right? Displeasure. So many emotions. Displeasure, right? Disobedience, disgruntlement, then disruption, distraction, dissatisfaction. But finally, he got darshan. He got the darshan of Lord's mercy. So we see that anger it happens sometimes, right? It happens sometimes. We see in the story of Daksha also. He just got angry. He just got angry. He couldn't control himself, right? So, yeah. We'll go ahead. We have 2 minutes. We'll see how much we can cover. So we can go back to that Parikshit Maharaj. Yeah.
O Brahmanas, the circumstances having distressed him with extreme hunger and thirst, the king directed towards the sage his anger and envy, which he had never before directed towards a Brahmana.
Yeah. So you can go ahead. 30. We can skip purports.
While leaving, the king, being so insulted, picked up a lifeless snake with his bow and angrily placed it on the shoulder of the sage. Then he returned to his palace.
Right. Then he returned. 31st is important. We'll stop there. This was one thing we'll read.
Upon returning, he began to contemplate and argue within himself whether the sage had actually been in meditation with senses concentrated and eyes closed, or whether he had just been feigning trance just to avoid receiving a lower kshatriya.
Right. So here this is important. See, he did a mistake. But Srila Prabhupada writes in the purport, repentance comes in the mind of the devotee. This is important. The repentance will come. We don't have the time to read the purport, but this is the quality of a devotee, that he would have made some small glitch, but repentance will come. Right? And again, we see that throughout Srimad Bhagavatam. Chatraketu Maharaj, he said something. He didn't mean it. But then he realized that, I think I screwed up. Right? So repentance comes in the heart of the devotee. And that is what is more important. Now we'll do 2 more verses, because basically the point is now Shringi gets angry. Shringi with his harsh words, he starts, he gave the curse that Takshaka, you will die. And by the time already Parikshit Maharaja had made up his mind that some consequence will come, I'm ready for it. Right? And in 48th verse, so can we go to 48th verse? We'll just read that verse. Translation we'll read. 48. We'll just read the translation. It's a beautiful one. It just explains, I hope that is the one. Yeah. It just explains the position of a devotee. What is a devotee? The devotees of the Lord are so forbearing that even though they are defamed, cheated, cursed, disturbed, neglected, or even killed, they are never inclined to avenge themselves. I mean, the very highest position, right? I mean, it's so difficult. That's what Parikshit Maharaj, he came to know everything. Shamik Rishi says at one place that if Shringi gets counter-cursed, he will be saved. But Shamik Rishi says that I know Parikshit Maharaj, he will not do that. So then he says, now only Krishna can save Shringi. Right? So, and at the end, I wanted to show one more verse, we don't have time. You can see, look up next time. 19th chapter, just look for the word Ganga. Just so that there's a verse. Tammopayatam pratyantu vipra. That the same person who was thirsty and angry and because of which all these things happened, the same person, when 7 days were remaining, he just sat and this beautiful verse says, Tamopayatum pratyantu vipra ganga cha devi dhritachittam ishe. He says that now I'm completely detached. You please sing the glories of the Lord. I'm just ready to hear. That was his consciousness at the end of his life. So, yeah. Thank you so much. Yes, Prabhu. Final thoughts from Tarun Prabhu.
Prabhuji, there is one question online. Would you like to address?
Raman Sakha Prabhu should allow. What do you think, Prabhu? Okay, just.
And this is Sri Mahaprabhu is asking. Sri Mahaprabhu Prabhu.
Okay.
What is the difference between reading Srimad Bhagavatam without emotions, as you said, and reading Srimad Bhagavatam scrutinizingly, as Prabhupada repeatedly instructed?
Yes. There's a disclaimer which I actually forgot. Thank you, Shima Prabhu, reminding.
There is another part.
There's another part? Go ahead.
Scrutiny can only happen from the standpoint of a skeptic. Am I understanding the word scrutiny incorrectly?
Yes. So, scrutinizingly is good, Srila Prabhupada said, and you should always ask questions. There's a difference between doubt and a question. When I was a child, we don't know so much English. So whenever I had a query, I used to raise my hand and I used to ask, teacher, I have a doubt. And teacher never corrected me. But when there was some English teacher who came and I said the same thing, teacher, I have a doubt. And that teacher little got taken aback and she was a little upset. And I didn't understand what happened. And she said, when you say the word doubt, you're basically doubting whatever I have spoken till now. And when you say the word query, that means that I have explained all this, but you have some questions in that. And that is okay. You can always ask that questions. So doubt means that you think that this is not possible. That is doubt. And I doubt Krishna and I doubt Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And query means that I have not understood this and I want to understand that. How can I understand? And then you ask devotees, you ask seniors, you ask Srila Prabhupada's books. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that Pariprashna, you have to ask questions. And that's where, that's where the sambandha happens, right? We ask questions, devotees answer. That's how the relationship happens. That is normal. But there's a difference between doubt and a query. So, doubt can actually take a very drastic step also. So we have to be very, very careful with that doubt. It's like, it can act like a weed. Difficult to remove then. I don't know whether it answered Mahaprabhu's question, but there's a difference. Scrutinizingly is good, basically. Scrutinizingly is good. I'm sorry, you want to add? Okay. Thank you. We'll stop here. Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you so much for tolerating. Hari Bol.
His Grace Acyuta Chaitanya Prabhu ki jai.
Hare Krishna. Namashreshtham manamapi sachiputram matra sarupam shri rupam tashagrajam murpurim mathurim gostavatim Shri Radha Kundam Girivaram Maho Radhika Madhavasha Prapto Yasya Prathita Kripaya Shri Gurum Tamnatosmi He Guru Jnanada Dina Bandhu Swananda Data Karunaika Sindhu Vrindavana Sina Hitavatara Prasida Radha Pranaya Prachara He Dinabandhu Karunaika Sindhu Kuru Prasadam Maimandamudhe Lakshaparadhe Bahupapagadhe Tatpada Padme Stumatischa Krishne. Oh. Smritaha Acharya Chitta Vapusaswagatim Vikrante. I bow down to the beautiful lotus feet of my spiritual master, by whose causeless mercy I have obtained the supreme holy name, the divine mantra, the service of Son of Sachimata, the association of Srila Swarup Damodar, Rupa Goswami and his older brother Sanatan Goswami, the supreme abode of Mathura, the blissful abode of Vrindavan, the divine Radha Kunda in Govardhan Hill, and the desire within my heart for the loving service of Sri Radha and Madhava in Vrindavan. O spiritual master, O giver of the divine wisdom, O friend of the fallen, you are the giver of your own bliss, and you are the only ocean of mercy. Although dwelling in Vrindavan, you have descended for the welfare of fallen souls like myself, and you are preaching the divine love of Radha for Krishna. Please be kind upon me. O friend of the lowly, O Gurudev, you are the only ocean of mercy. I am a dull fool and have committed hundreds of thousands of offenses. I have fallen into a dense myriad of sins. Therefore, grace me with your mercy so that my mind may be fixed on your lotus feet and on Sri Krishna. O my Lord, the transcendental poets and experts in spiritual science could not fully express their indebtedness to you, even if you are endowed with the prolonged lifetime of Brahma. For you appear in two features, externally as the Acharya and internally as the Supersoul, to deliver the embodied living being by directing him how to come to you. The lotus feet of our spiritual master are the only way by which we can attain pure devotional service. I bow down to his lotus feet with great awe and reverence. By their grace, one can cross the ocean of material suffering and obtain the mercy of Krishna. Our only wish is to have our consciousness purified by the words emanating from his lotus mouth. Attachment to his lotus feet is the perfection for all, fulfilling all desires. He opens our darkened eyes and fills our hearts with transcendental knowledge. He is our Lord birth after birth. From him ecstatic prema emanates. By him ignorance is destroyed. The Vedic scriptures sing of his character. Our spiritual master is the ocean of mercy, the friend of the poor, and the Lord of master of the devotees. O Master, be merciful unto us. Give us the shade of your lotus feet. Your frame is spread all over the three worlds. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Shri Guru Charana Padma Kevala Bhagavate Sadma. Andamui Savadhana Mate savadhana te prasade bhai bhavato riyada prapti hoy jaha hoyte Krishna prapti hoy jaha Padmavakya chitat koriyaya Guru Mukha Padmavakya chitat koriyaya खुदान दिलो दे जन्म जन्म प्रभु से खुदान दिलो दे जन्म जन्म प्रभु से ज्ञान दे प्रकाशित दिव्य ज्ञान दे प्रकाशित भक्ति जाहा होते अविद्या विनाश जाते भक्ति जाहा होते अविद्या विनाश जाते गाय हर चरित गाय हर चरित श्री गुरु करुणा सिंधु अधम जनार बंधु Rajivana, Lokanath Loke Rajivana, Lokanath Loke Rajivana, Lokanath Loke Rajivana. Aha Prabhu karo daya, deho mor pad khaya. Aha Prabhu Prabhu kara daya, deho mor pad khaya. Prabhu kara daya, deho mor pad khaya. Bija Shri Bhuvana, Bija Shri Bhuvana, Bija Shri Bhuvana, Bija Shri Bhuvana. Prabhu pada, Prabhu pada, Prabhu pada, Shila Prabhu pada. Jaya Prabhu pada, Jaya Prabhu pada, Jaya Prabhu pada, Prabhu pada, Jaya Prabhu pada, Jaya Prabhu pada, Shila Prabhu pada. Jaya Prabhu pada, Jaya Prabhu pada, Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Mam Krishna Padaya, Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale, Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Aschatyade Satarine. Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Acyuta Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Acyuta Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Acyuta Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Govinda Jaya Jaya, Gopal Jaya Jaya, 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 Govinda Jaya Jaya, Govinda Jaya Jaya, Gopal Jaya Jaya, Radha Ramana Hari Govinda Jaya Jaya, Radha Ramana Hari Govinda Jaya Jaya, Govinda Jaya Jaya, Gopal Jaya Jaya, Govinda Jaya Jaya, Gopal Jaya Jaya, Govinda Jaya Jaya, Gopal Jaya Jaya, Govinda Jaya Jaya, Govinda Jaya Jaya, Gopal Jaya Jaya, Govinda Jaya Jaya, Govinda Jaya Jaya, Gopal Jaya Jaya, Govinda Jaya Jaya, Radha Ramana Hari Govinda Jaya Jaya, Radha Ramana Hari Govinda Jaya Jaya, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Nitai Gaur Hariva, 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 Nitai Gaur Hariva, Nitai Gaur Hariva, Hariva, Nitai Gaur Hariva, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya. Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Privrajacharya Stotra His Divine Grace by Charanarvind Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Privrajacharya Stotra His Divine Grace Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Goswami Prabhupada Ki प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की रामाचार्य शिला हरिदास ठाकुर की श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की गंगामय जमुनामय की भक्ति देवी तुलसी महारानी की समवेत गौर भक्त वृंद की All glories to assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to Sri Guru and Gauranga. Jai Shri Prabhupada. We'll sing the Prasadam prayers. Any announcements?
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hari Bol. Thank you so much for joining us for the Saturday morning program. It's so ecstatic to see so many devotees coming early morning. Today we started with the Japa circle by His Grace Acyuta Chaitanya Prabhu, and he was mentioning the most important thing in Japa is to wake up early and to come to the temple. 50% of the battle is won if you just wake up early. And you have all done that. You have come early morning for the program. So a big round of applause for all of you. Hari Bol! Hari Bol! Hari Bol! Are there any newcomers, first-timers to the temple? First-timers. Okay, all returning stars. Hari Bol! Hari Bol! Hari Bol! Hari Bol! So we had a class by Acyuta Chaitanya Prabhu on blessing in disguise, and Prabhu mentioned the story of Parikshit Maharaja. Although he was a pure devotee, he could not have felt the thirst and hunger, and he could not have committed an offense to a Brahmana, but it was the will of the Lord, so that Srimad Bhagavatam could be spoken and Parikshit Maharaj could become the Shravanacharya. So we can all try to apply that lesson in our life whenever we see reversals. That's what I hear from Acyuta Chaitanya Prabhu, the last verse that he mentioned, that devotees of the Lord are so forbearing that even if they are cheated, they are misguided, they are mistreated, they are insulted, they are even killed, they do not protest. So we can try to apply that in our life, wherever we are. But as we progress, we can see that becoming more and more natural. So let's thank our speaker, His Grace Acyuta Chaitanya Prabhu, with loud Hari Bol. Hari Bol! 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 Hari Hari Bol! 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 Thank you so much, Prabhu. And we would also like to thank His Grace Jaikanai Prabhu for leading an amazing, amazing Guru Puja and Kirtan. Hari Bol! Hari Bol! Hari Bol! Hari Bol! And our Charunimai Prabhu, because he has to come even before the Japa circle starts. So Charunimai Prabhu and His Grace Ramanand Sakha Prabhu for the broadcast. Hari Bol! Hari Bol! Hari Bol! Hari Bol! Hari Bol! We have a few announcements, Sankirtan announcements. So we have teams going all over Bay Area because this is Gaur Purnima, MSF. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has come to give the fruits of love of Godhead. He says in Chaitanya Charitamrita that I have brought innumerous fruits, but how many can I distribute? I have brought so many fruits. I need help of everybody. Please become a guru. Please become a guru devotee. Go and distribute these fruits of love of Godhead. So we need all of your help to distribute the message of Lord Chaitanya, Chaitanya Charitamrita. If you don't have a copy, please take it, run for it. And also you can distribute it, give a gift for your loved ones. Because Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu teaches the science of love of Godhead, how we can perfect our life. So we have teams going all over Bay Area. I know one team is going to San Francisco with Naveen Prabhu. So with Naveen Prabhu, if you want to join, you can join with him. There's another team going with Vaishnav Toshni Prabhu and Jai Kanai Prabhu. They're going to Oakland. So please, you can join Jai Kanai Prabhu if you would like to join. And then there are nearby teams. I think Krishna Sakha Prabhu and Acyuta Balram Prabhu. They are going nearby. So thank you so much. And we also have announcements from Malini Mataji, I think on door-to-door book distribution. Malini Mataji is not here. But if you would like to join door-to-door, we go to Fremont, we go to Cupertino. There are so many nice opportunities to present Chaitanya Charitamrita. You can contact me or Yeah, you can connect with me. I will connect with you, and then I will connect you with the devotee who is going for door to door. And any other announcements? Bhakti community. Hari Bol. Let's give a big round for Bhakti community. Hari Bol. Hari Bol. Hari Bol. Hari Bol.
Thank you, Prabhuji. I just want to. I was remembering Acyuta Chaitanya Prabhu's nice class today, and in one of the examples, he said, the fourth examples he gave, the last one he said, there was a big rock, and it was so hard to move that rock. So many people were moving it. And finally, just one sadhu came and just put a little bit hair, and he could move the rock. And he gave that example that that's what Kali Yuga has, all these bad qualities. We read about so many things, and we are living and breathing them every day. But just the chanting of the holy name is having so much potency that we can overcome everything that we are going through. And that was the example he taught us. And that simply is the mission of our life. And you all are going for book distribution. Just to do that, give that little hair in the pile of haystack to get people out of the ocean of mercy. So when you give the books, we just want to remind you, we have fantastic flyers for Bhakti community. You can introduce Bhakti community to the newcomers. They can be easily onboarded, and they can understand the philosophy better when they have a buddy or somebody who can help them to understand these books that we are giving them. So please introduce Bhakti community. We are creating an ecosystem for all the newcomers where they can thrive and be successful in their spiritual journeys. We have a lot of programs that going on. So you can, when you introduce them books, you take their numbers and introduce them to our Zoom meetings that we have every Thursday and Friday. And they can just be with them in one of the meetings. And then somebody will take them over from there. But we want your help to just bring them onto the system and stay with them for a while before we can take over and help them in their journey. And if you would like to continue with them, we are more than happy to give you the facilities and the tools and the tips on how to keep them going on the spiritual journey. So please introduce Bhakti community. Hare Krishna.
Do we know the cooks for today? What are the cooks? So,
anyway, head cook is Hanspare Mataji, but she had a few helpers also.
Let's big round of applause. Hari Bol! Hari Bol! Hari Bol! Prasadam prayers by Chaitanya Prabhu. Hari Bol! Hari Bol!
Hare Krishna. Sharira Vidyaja Yorendriya Karika Vive Vishaya Sabhari Karma Dhikayati Loho Ake jeta kathina samsare Krishna Balaram Koribare Vibhaja Swaprashadana Dilobha Chayana Mrita Pao Radha Krishna Gunangao Emedako Sri Chaitanya Nita Emedako Sri Chaitanya Nita Apshabe Bhagavad Sri Mahaprasad ki. Please come take prasadam. We're serving outside. We'll be serving prasadam outside in the foray over here.